Regan, where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Apopka. I was born there, then transferred over to Altamont Springs, and then just ventured off into Orlando, so the downtown Orlando area. So I'm basically born and raised in this area, Orlando.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Bishop Moore, so I actually was in public school K through 8th, and then I transferred over to a private school for 9th through 12th, so that was crazy, let me tell you, big change there. Went into it as if high school isn't hard enough and you got to go into high school not knowing anyone, so, and it's a completely different environment, so I definitely had wrestling as an outlet.
Did you play sports in high school?
Yes, I did. In high school, I ran track. I also threw discus and shot put, so that's where you're getting all the strength over there. I was a bowling captain, 10th grade through 12th. So I'm like, bowling, but wrist game, we're good. That's how I pick up people. And then, I played soccer from the time that I was 9 until high school. I actually had an injury right before my freshman year, and I actually pulled something in my ankle, and that really put a damper on soccer for me in high school. So then I just transferred over to wrestling, and I fell in love. It's like my passion just moved over to something else, so it was really great.
When you graduated high school, did you go to college or have thoughts of going to college?
Yeah, I went to Valencia. I was on scholarship, so I was like, that's the easiest choice. I always wanted to go to UCF because it was close to home, but when you're looking at as far as price, money, and me having to pay for college, it was only smart that I already have a scholarship for Bright Futures. I might as well just go to Valencia and get that knocked out of the way and go from there.
How did you find your wrestling school, and where have you been training?
So when I was 16, the closest school to me was Team Vision. So I was there for a while, learned my basics. Now I'm actually in this school. We're actually at a CrossFit gym, and it's Pro Wrestling 2.0. So I definitely enjoy it here. I get to work with a bunch of talent that has worked in NXT, traveled to Japan. We actually have gentleman Jack that trains us on Wednesdays. So I'm a huge technical wrestler, so to be working with someone like him, someone that I really look up to and has the same style as me, it's a pretty starstruck moment right now.
Regan, if you weren't wrestling, what would you be doing?
That's a good question. When I was growing up, I always loved working with kids, so I always wanted to be a teacher, but I never enjoyed the classroom setting. I always wanted, I'd definitely say a personal trainer. My first job was a gymnastics coach. I did that for 2 years, and that's where I found a lot of joy. Unfortunately, they only paid minimum wage, and I was driving an hour because it was my first job, it's first place that someone wanted to hire me, and I was only 17 years old, so not a bunch of people. But I really enjoyed it. So if I wasn't wrestling, and even something that I still have been considering doing, is being a personal trainer for kids.
But you are wrestling. And Regan, how long have you been wrestling now? How old are you now?
I am 20. I just turned 20 in November. So still got a bunch of years to go. But I started training when I was 16. I had my first match when I was 17. I believe it was July 16th, 2016. Yeah, that was a really fun match. I know it was a while.
How is that for you? Because you come into the game so young. Did you have more that you had to do just get the respect from everyone because you were so young, or no, that didn't factor in?
I was definitely more a kid at that stage. I didn't really earn respect from a lot of people until I started going places, because you really don't earn respect for people until you actually put in the time. To be a professional wrestler, there's so much more than just going on to the stage. You have to show up to shows, even if you're not working shows. You need to set up, you need to talk to the promoters, advertise yourself, talk about you, make friends, make connections, and sometimes you're driving a couple of hours just to do that. You're not getting paid or anything. So there's a lot more that goes into wrestling that a lot of people don't think about. And me going in at 16 and started working when I was 17, and I didn't have a car at that time. It was really difficult. I had to carpool with people. Friendships would go up and down, so it's like sometimes you can get there, sometimes you can't. My parents got me a bunch of places at the time, and it's honestly a lot harder with parents when you're earning respect because you're working with people that have been in the business for a bunch of years, and you really want these people to look at you as equal. So going in so young, it was hard for me to work with the people that were 10 years in, and me just coming in and being like, hi, I want to work you, even though you've like traveled everywhere. Like my first match was against Santana Garrett. So she actually trained me, so that was really great, and I really enjoyed my match with her. She helped me a lot through that, but it's just a matter of getting out there and getting to know people and making connections and really giving it your all, and giving more than you receive and being humble about it.
Regan, how did you come up with the name Raegan Fire?
It's a great question. So I actually, short story, but my dad was a professional wrestler when he was young, but back then there wasn't really, it wasn't really enough. You couldn't really get out of it what you were putting in. You would do all these crazy shows and not get paid, and you're just getting hurt. So he left that and he became a firefighter. So that's where I got fire from. And Regan is actually one of my nieces, and it's spelled R-A-E-G-A-N. So it's kind of different than what people think of Regan as. But she's one of my nieces. I have 3 nieces and a nephew, and the 3 nieces are Allie, Regan, and Mia. And there's already an Allie in the business, there's already a Mia in the business, so Regan it is. So that's how that happened.
All right, so your dad did some wrestling.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. I was like, so I'll pose this, we'll wrap this up, but I'll pose this to you. So what did Dad say when you're like saying, okay, this is something I want to do? Was there trepidation from Dad, or
I mean,
what did he say?
When we first started, he actually wanted to teach me, and then when he realized that there's other people that would be training me and I'd be in good hands, because back then like people weren't really in good hands unless you went to like a really, really good school. So when he saw that I was in good hands, he was like, oh yeah, go for it, you got this. And he kind of passed on his dream to me, and I kind of ran with it.
Did he have advice too for you and all? Because it is a tough business, it's a grind.
Yeah, I still, like, I always hear his voice in my head, but just stay humble and keep pushing. And also hearing from Mick today during the seminar, he said a couple of words that like really stuck in my mind, and he said, be patient and be ready. And it kind of reminds me of how my dad always talks to me, because my dad's always like, stay humble, stay low, and when your time comes, like, you're gonna have it, like, put your all out there, and people will notice you after that.
Really good advice. And Mick Foley, WWE Hall of Famer, was here at Rise doing a seminar early on, and he's here for the show as well. So Regan, social media for you, for fans?
All right, my fun social media. So my Facebook is Callie Topper, K-A-L-L-E-T-O-P-P-E-R. You can also follow my fan page, which is Raegan Fire, and then my Instagram is Callie Marie, and my Twitter is Callie_Topper.
Regan, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.